Hey Vegas, welcome back to Vegas Realty Check. Ever had a real estate deal fall apart at the finish line? Well, you're not alone. This week on Vegas Realty Check, we're exposing the deal killers, escrow disasters, and underwriting surprises, all the behind the scenes chaos that can blow up your closing. Real stories, real advice, and a few laughs along the way. Don't miss it because we're gonna let you know what you don't know that can kill your deal. Welcome back. Let's dive into our market numbers. Courtney, welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're back here today to get started on all of our market numbers and what's going on for the week.
So let's look at some of the numbers and what we're seeing, especially here in Nevada. So right now we are up 170 from last week. Single family homes on the market currently are 6,439.
Yeah, that inventory is continuing to jump, and oh my gosh, I'm feeling it. I am feeling it out there. We're getting a lot more listings on the market, and we're seeing it. We're seeing it reflected in pricing, in activity, and everything. Condos and townhouses didn't jump too much. Those are still at 24.55, only up 15 from last week.
And we have two less listings than last week, so 1,118, and we have 1,104 price decreases, which is 6 less than last week.
Yeah, but still, those price reduction numbers in the thousands are pretty big numbers.
So what is that telling you about the market right now?
We're soft. We're definitely in a soft market. I would call this a buyer's market. I would say it's official. We're in a buyer's market. What that means for buyers is definitely more opportunity, better deals that can be had. I am seeing a lot more listings. I'm actually getting a lot more of the, I want to get my home on the market, come list me calls. I still do not think this is anything to panic about. I don't think we're in a crash. I think that we are just experiencing high interest rates for a long time, and buyers are not seeing the optimism that they seen when rates started going up, and when they got high, a lot of buyers were in the mindset, and you heard the saying, date the rate. I'm sure you use the saying, date the rate, marry the house, date the rate. That was very common, going around. So everybody was like, this rate jump is going to be temporary. And now we're almost 3 years into it, and it's still here. So I think that optimism is going away. And buyers are starting to feel like if they don't get in at a good rate, the refinance after a year or two is not going to be beneficial. So
I agree.
It's causing a lot of uncertainty about what's going on, and it's slowing down the market.
Agree.
If we do have anything happen with rates, I do expect that we're going to have a big shift into a seller's market, and it will happen very quickly. Under contracts, we're at 744, which is only 8 less from last week, and still a good number.
And sold on the market is 556, 104 less than last week.
Yeah, I hate to see those sold numbers go down. Now, we were talking a little bit about real estate news earlier, and homes are canceling. We're seeing a lot of cancellations with this shift in the market, with more inventory. We're seeing a lot of cancellations happen across the country, not just in Las Vegas. So that is a noteworthy information to...
As far as people putting their home on the market and then canceling?
No, actually going into escrow and then canceling.
Gotcha.
Sometimes it's the negotiations, it's the repairs. Buyers' expectations are a lot higher now that we're in a buyer's market. And sometimes it's just there's so much inventory, something else pops up at a better price, and they say, never mind, I want that one. So that's happening. We're there. Where are we at with rates this week?
So rates are holding really steady. We were, for maybe 3 days last week, over 7%. We've came a tad bit down. We're sitting right at a 6.9 for a 30-year, and we've been right around a 6.5 for FHA VA on a 30-year. So there just hasn't been a ton of movement virtually at all. We wish there was more movement trending down, but either way.
Yeah, no, I do believe this 7% is kind of where we're going to be at for until I do think something's going to change.
Yeah.
It's going to be, I mean, I've heard talk about, there's a proposal for a program that's out there for home prices under $750,000 that will have lower rates. It's going to be a government, backed program or funded program or something like that. So if that goes through, that will be something to look forward to, and it will definitely increase that first-time home buyer market.
And I think, I think a lot of people that don't own homes are really trying to get into homes because the rent is so high that a lot of times they can get something for what they're paying already. I think more so it comes down to, down payments and credit and things like that. But people are trying to get into homes. So, our job is to try to find something that's going to help them do that.
Absolutely, and rent prices are still increasing. So
yes, they are. Absolutely.
That's something you can always count on that will go
up. Yep. Yeah. And so today I just wanted to go over some very basic mortgage terms and different types of loans you can get. One is probably the most common now is a fixed rate mortgage. And that's where you're going to have the same interest rate the entire life of the loan. So a 30-year, a 15-year, if you're at a 7%, nothing's going to change unless, of course, you sell the home or refinance. So that is a fixed rate. The interest rate is going to stay the same the entire time. And then years ago, it used to be more popular, not so popular anymore, but an ARM, which is an adjustable rate mortgage. So essentially, you're starting at a lower rate, and then after 3, 5, or 8 years, the rate starts to trickle upward.
Yeah.
This still is somewhat popular if you're going to be in a house maybe 2-3 years and you're going to sell, but for the most part people are sticking to a fixed rate where it's not changing. Years ago people were getting into ARMs and then they could afford what the original payment was and they didn't move, and then it got too expensive once the interest rate changed. So really depending on what your overall goals are, we look at that. If you're going to be in the home long term, right now the rates are still trending and staying steady. They're not so low. So at the end of the day, typically most people choose a fixed rate so they know exactly what they're paying and there's no surprises, especially once the rate goes up. An ARM can be a little bit tricky.
Yeah, definitely a lot more certainty with a fixed rate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that means a lot. People buy houses to have that stability and certainty. So that makes a lot of sense. Coming up next, one missing document and the entire deal can go up in flames. How does this happen? We're going to tell you. Stay tuned.
Hey Vegas! Celebrate every day in style at the Composer's Room. From live music to comedy shows, we've got entertainment that'll give you that Las Vegas vibe. Our tavern serves the best drinks in Vegas. Whether you're a cocktail connoisseur or a beer buff, our bartenders got you covered. And let's not forget about the food. Our culinary delights are sure to tantalize your taste buds. Come for the entertainment and stay for the food. Reserve your visit to the Composer's Room today and start celebrating Las Vegas our way.
Looking for a night out that's pure Vegas? Welcome to Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club, voted best comedy club in Las Vegas. Located at the Link Promenade, just steps from the High Roller, it's your ticket to big laughs from top comics handpicked by Jimmy Kimmel himself. No two shows are alike. Every night's a headliner, and every seat's a great one. Get your laughs at the best. Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club, only in Vegas, only at the Link.
Hey Vegas! Celebrate every day in style at the Composer's Room. From live music to comedy shows, we've got entertainment that'll give you that Las Vegas vibe. Our tavern serves the best drinks in Vegas. Whether you're a cocktail connoisseur or a beer buff, our bartenders got you covered. And let's not forget about the food. Our culinary delights are sure to tantalize your taste buds. Come for the entertainment and stay for the food. Reserve your visit to the Composer's Room today and start celebrating Las Vegas our way.
welcome back. So there's times, Courtney, that buyers, sellers, we open escrow, we think, oh, home sold, home's in escrow, we got a buyer, everything's good, and then a curveball hits. And
absolutely,
sometimes those curveballs can happen through the loan process, through underwriting, and even through the title process. I mean, besides the regular repairs, things with the house, those come up too, and we'll get into those on another episode. But today we're going to be talking about title issues and underwriting issues that can arise and essentially kill a deal.
Absolutely, and I think the longer you are in the industry, the more you realize nothing is done until it's done, right?
Until you have keys.
You always want to stay positive, but you just never know what's going to pop up. So I feel like, you know, our job is really to try to hold everything together and control as much as we can control, but there's always, not always, very rarely there's something that pops up, but it just depends on what it is and if we can get it fixed.
We can navigate through it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. One of the biggest issues that I come across, and I mean, not often, it's not every escrow, but that it's something that is very common out there. If I could shout to the mountaintop to every homeowner, please do not do a DIY deed on your home. DIY deeds are basically, I mean, there's a place here in Nevada called like Nevada legal forms. You know, you go down there and you prepare your own deed, and you can record anything.
People do it because it's cheap, right?
It's cheap, costs a couple dollars. You buy the deed, you prepare it yourself. You're not an attorney. You don't have a background. You don't know what's supposed to happen with recording that deed, and they don't tell you. They don't provide legal advice. They just give you legal forms. And so many people says that because it's called legal forms, that it's just everything's done. You know, you fill in the form, and then the recorder's office, you can bring anything to the recorder's office and record it on a property, which is great until you go to sell that property.
And then there's a problem.
Then there's a problem. Title review will, they require more information and more documentation when it comes to what they call uninsured deeds. Those are deeds that are recorded on the title, not done through a title company. So to sell a home in Las Vegas, you have to have title insurance. And you know, you're selling it to a buyer. Part of the contract says that you have to provide them title insurance. If they cannot clear these uninsured deeds, which cause what's called a cloud on title, you're not going to get title insurance. That buyer will not be able to purchase the home.
Yeah, are you seeing that a lot?
A lot. And the most common ones that I see are quit claim deeds. Quit claim deeds, most commonly when someone deeds it to a family member or they put it into a trust. So we'll get into trust in a little bit. We'll that's a whole separate section there. But quit claim deeds to a family member, it seems great. Like, oh, I'm just going to transfer the family member the property or whatnot. Happens a lot in divorces. People that do divorces kind of through a paralegal and don't go through an attorney to get like everything done extensively, and they'll just quit claim the property to the other person. Well, let's say ex-wife, 10 years later, wants to sell the house. Husband quit claim deeded the property to her. And he's bitter, as they are, right?
Most of the time.
She goes to sell the house. They now need an affidavit or a statement from the husband saying that he authorized the quitclaim deed or the sell or whatever to the house. There's often times where he says, I'm not signing that unless I get paid, because now that house that was worth $200,000 is now worth $700,000, and I want some money from that. And you need my signature to make the sale go through, so pay up. And that is a very common thing that happens, unfortunately. We'll get into trust next, which I'll talk a little bit about that. But tell me a little bit about some underwriting things.
I think people don't realize that on the lender side, we're trying to help the process and make sure it gets through underwriting. And so I always say we're like the attorney and the underwriter's like the judge. Their job is to look at everything that could throw a deal off or show that you don't have what's called the ability to repay. So I don't want to say a lot of times, but they're going to look at everything. And when people think they're not going to find something, they find something. So I've had definitely a few instances where, they tell me they're moving into a primary and that's the only house they have. And sure enough, like 2 weeks in, I'll get a call. We did a search of title and the wife's name is on a whole nother property.
Yeah.
And so at that point, there's times where now all of a sudden we're getting through this process and now all of a sudden I have a whole nother house payment that I have to try to qualify their debt to income and people try to hide things, and a lot of times if it's something they just purchased, it might not be on their credit report. Or somehow they had something that was paid off. Even a house that's paid off, there's still taxes, insurance, everything we still have to account for.
Yeah.
So when we take a loan application, one of the biggest things that will throw things off in underwriting is people not being transparent.
Yes.
A lot of times, even if I pull credit and we go over all their debts and one thing they just got isn't showing, they check it before we close the loan as well.
Yeah.
So things like houses, things like cars, things like new debts that you didn't tell me existed, they'll pop up and it can literally just cause everything to be done.
Yeah. And what about, I know that you guys can run into issues when it comes to divorces as well. Where maybe the divorce isn't official, or they've been separated for so long they've just deemed themselves divorced but never
Officially been divorced.
And that's something that can arise through underwriting.
So with divorces, that can be very, very tricky. There are certain ways to go about it, but anyone's going to want to see, a divorce decree of some sort that shows if you're selling the house, does the other spouse or the ex-spouse get a portion of it, or what's defined in those terms, especially in a state like a community property state.
Yeah.
So divorces can be very, very tricky to navigate. It's not impossible to move forward if the husband wants to leave and purchase his own house. But there's a lot of things that have to really be looked at, because if you're still legally married and things aren't defined, the husband goes to buy a new house and now the wife could say, I want a portion of that too if the divorce settles. So I think you really want things to be very outlined, black and white when you're going through a divorce, because it can cause a lot of headaches after, if not, especially when you're dealing with money and houses and things like that, especially if someone doesn't want to sign documents.
Yeah. Yeah. And
it happens a lot.
I had a buyer a few years back. She had been separated from her ex-husband for 12 years, did not know where he was, couldn't locate him, had no way of contacting him. They never got officially divorced. She couldn't buy a house. They had to, the lender required some type of documentation, or we had to have a statement of some sort, quitclaim deed signed by the by the spouse, and she had absolutely no way of contacting him or locating him.
And a lot of times, too, if you have debts, so a lot of debts, if you're looking at like FHA, let's say credit maybe isn't as great, if you're still legally married, I have to look at all the debts versus just your debts. And so a lot of times when you go through a divorce, things are actually settled where this credit card is his, this credit card is hers. So now we can actually really look at your true debt and not have to count both your debts. So that can be a really messy situation. So obviously the more settled that is, the better. Also, if there's kids involved, if there's child support involved, alimony, we're really going to wait on that, because if all of a sudden someone owes $1,000 a month in child support or alimony, it can literally throw a whole deal off. They may not qualify.
Yeah, because that's part of your debt to income ratio.
Absolutely. Yeah. So those are things that can be very, very tricky to navigate. And obviously, once a divorce decree comes out and we get the copy, that usually makes things a lot easier. But in the midst of a divorce, it's just not advised to be going and buying homes, and it can be really bad.
Yeah, and make sure if you do get divorced, no matter how long or far away that was, you have a copy of that decree available.
Absolutely.
Buying or selling, it will often be asked
Absolutely.
for if
Yep.
you were married at the time of the purchase. So speaking of not having proper documentation, another issue we run into upon, with title searches, there's two different kinds of deeds that really cause a lot of issues. One is a deed upon death. Deed upon death says, when one person dies, it'll transfer to another. People often do this with their children. They'll do this instead of doing a trust.
Yeah.
It sounds like a great plan, except for Nevada law requires a lot of steps that go along with that deed upon death, which includes a publication that has to run for at least 90 days. You have to send out mailing to all known creditors to make sure that all of the credit and debts are paid. You have to have a waiver sent from Medicare. So there's a lot of steps, and you have to have all of this documentation at the time that you sell the property. Has to be at least 90 days past the transfer.
So instead of it just being defined in one in a trust, or this goes there, this goes there.
Right. So many people they go and they do these deed upon deaths. They record it and they think it's done. And then we go to sell. They never did the publication. We're at least 90 days before you can sell, and that's if nothing arises.
Which is a nightmare. For the
It is a
family.
nightmare. So to avoid that, many people will do what's called a trust. A trust is something that you put together. It's similar to a will, but it's different. A living trust will say who gets property, who does everything. It avoids probate if it is done correctly, and I can't stress enough if it is done correctly. Trust, I've run across so many people that have a living trust, and they say, oh, I have a trust, everything's fine, my parents left me the house, here's the trust. Problem is, the property was never recorded into the trust, which makes it absolutely useless as far as the property is concerned. They then have to go to, it is useful in probate court, they have to go to probate court to get authorization to sell the property. And another issue that I've ran into recently, which was an absolute nightmare. House was in a trust, and it was recorded into a trust, and the parent had passed.
Yeah.
Was no longer here, and they had recorded the house into they created a new trust later on, changed some terms, created a whole new trust, recorded the property into the new trust as they did all of the proper steps there, except for those were all uninsured deeds, and that old trust was destroyed because the deceased parent thought, I don't need that trust anymore. We have a new one. But as far as title was concerned, that was still done on property, and it was uninsured, and they needed a copy of that trust to verify it. So when your home is recorded into a trust, you make sure. I not only have a paper copy, I have a digital copy, I have a copy stored in several places, so my children will not have a hard time finding it, because if the property is recorded into a trust and you do not have a copy of that trust, it's useless, and it will cause more issues.
And the sad thing is, I think more people than not don't have anything set up.
And that would, in that case, when you die, you have the family or the heirs will have to go to probate, and probate is a nightmare. We should do a whole show about probate in the future. It is a nightmare. That is, you want to talk escrow gone wrong. Let's get into probate,
it really
because it's a challenging thing. It's expensive and time consuming.
Absolutely.
And lots of issues can arise with probate. So
if you own a home, set your family up so God forbid something happens.
yeah, do a living trust, do it right, make sure the property is recorded into that trust, or else you're just you're back to square one. When we come back, we're going to talk about how you get a hold of us, how you stay tuned, how you keep on watching our show, so don't go away.
Hey Vegas! Celebrate every day in style at the Composer's Room. From live music to comedy shows, we've got entertainment that'll give you that Las Vegas vibe. Our tavern serves the best drinks in Vegas. Whether you're a cocktail connoisseur or a beer buff, our bartenders got you covered. And let's not forget about the food. Our culinary delights are sure to tantalize your taste buds. Come for the entertainment and stay for the food. Reserve your visit to the Composer's Room today and start celebrating Las Vegas our way.
Looking for a night out that's pure Vegas? Welcome to Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club, voted best comedy club in Las Vegas. Located at the Link Promenade, just steps from the High Roller, it's your ticket to big laughs from top comics handpicked by Jimmy Kimmel himself. No two shows are alike. Every night's a headliner, and every seat's a great one. Get your laughs at the best. Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club, only in Vegas, only at the Link.
Hey Vegas! Celebrate every day in style at the Composer's Room. From live music to comedy shows, we've got entertainment that'll give you that Las Vegas vibe. Our tavern serves the best drinks in Vegas. Whether you're a cocktail connoisseur or a beer buff, our bartenders got you covered. And let's not forget about the food. Our culinary delights are sure to tantalize your taste buds. Come for the entertainment and stay for the food. Reserve your visit to the Composer's Room today and start celebrating Las Vegas our way. Hey Vegas! Celebrate every day in style at the Composer's Room. From live music to comedy shows, we've got entertainment that'll give you that Las Vegas vibe. Our tavern serves the best drinks in Vegas. Whether you're a cocktail connoisseur or a beer buff, our bartenders got you covered. And let's not forget about the food. Our culinary delights are sure to tantalize your taste buds. Come for the entertainment and stay for the food. Reserve your visit to the Composer's Room today and start celebrating Las Vegas our way.
So, Courtney, we covered a lot today.
Yes, as always.
Lots of escrow nightmares. And if you guys are watching us, please stay tuned. Watch us at heyvegas.com, heyvegastv.com. And you can also follow us on realtycheck.vegas. We have a link tree set up there where you can connect with us on all socials, get all of our contact information, and it links right back to the Hey Vegas TV network. So keep watching, telling your friends about us. And Courtney, how do people get a hold of you?
So you can reach me at Citywide Mortgage, 702-416-6918. Call or text me.
Yes.
Probably the easiest way.
Yeah, and you can call or text me at 702-308-2878. I'm Trish Williams, and if you have any feedback, listener questions, you can submit those to our website, and keep watching. There's lots of good content here on the network, so check out all of the great shows that Hey Vegas has to offer, and stay tuned. We'll see you next week.